continuing to talk about the incredible stories that surround the coronavirus and this COVID-19 disease. And I have with me some very, very hopeful people today. Laura Beth Cochran is the daughter of a gentleman named Harold, and his wife Ann is here. Harold Brock, who has been in the hospital and facing all kinds of challenges. Harold Brock is somebody, a lot of people may know you guys, because that's how I knew your dad. He is a guy who is at that North Grove facility. He's a greeter. He helps you find the doctor's office you're looking for. He's the smiley guy that puts a smile on your face, and he has been through it. Talk about when this started for him.
It started on Wednesday. Well, today actually is 3 weeks ago. It started. We went to the doctor. He had been to the doctor on Tuesday, had gotten some medicine. He was not feeling well Tuesday night, started running a fever. So Wednesday, the doctor called to check on him. And so he said, I'll see him. You just bring him to the tent out back and I will see him. And as soon as he saw him, he checked his oxygen level and he said he's going to the hospital. So that's where our journey with this began. We had no idea. He and I had sat here and talked about his, where he worked and the danger of the virus and everything. So we were cautious, and even before this. And so we had a strong talk with him about maybe taking some time off from his job because he had asthma and bronchitis anyway. So his health from that standpoint was compromised, but otherwise a very healthy, strong, but gentle person. And so it started on Wednesday, and then on Saturday is when they called me, Saturday morning early, and said that they were going to have to put him on the ventilator because he was not able to breathe. And that was the worst news in the world. And they said that he had tested positive for the virus. And so at that point, we began to pray really hard. And it has been a roller coaster ride. We've had the doom and gloom, and we've had bits of good news and bits of a little better news, but then the doom and gloom would come again. And it's just been a real, true roller coaster ride. My grandson and I decided we do not like roller coasters.
Yeah, you're done with those.
They will shoot you up to the top of the mountain, and then all of a sudden you're crashing into the ground. And that's the way that we have lived for the last 2 weeks. And then I started getting symptoms on Thursday after he was in the hospital. Laura Beth and her husband Jeremy started getting. So we've all had the virus. All the adults have. Praise the Lord. The grandkids have not. But so we've been in quarantine. Easter Sunday, praise the Lord, we were able to get together and share a meal together. But Harold has been a very, very sick guy, and they didn't give him much hope at all. And we just got to the point to where we really had to put all of our hope and our trust in the Lord, because while we're thankful for the medicine and thankful for the doctors and thankful for the nurses and even the people that take out the garbage and clean the rooms, because they are putting their lives on the line. And but I'm so thankful for them. But at the end of the day, all the praise and all the glory and all the honor has to go to the Lord, because even the doctors have said that he's quite a miracle. They cannot believe where he was and where he has come to. So,
well, Laura Beth, I'm sure your mom maybe, I don't know, you might have been too busy, Ann, to see the prayer requests that Laura Beth would faithfully put out, specific prayer requests. I mean, we need this to be prayed for. We need that to be prayed for consistently. That's what I kept seeing. And I've been praying along with everybody else following his story. And that it really made a difference here in your minds, right?
Yes. And he says, the Lord says, be specific. And so, when they would call us, I would let's write all that down so then I can, put it out there and we can pray specifically for those things, because that's what we're asking in his name. And so it just seemed to help a ton. I mean, all the encouragement and the support from people we didn't realize he had impacted. I mean, people from his work, would friend me on Facebook and had no idea the impact. I mean, he would talk about them, but now we could put a face with the name, and just, it was incredible. So
I have some pictures that you guys have provided me of some of the cool things that have been done for him. Like they did, and this is the place that you'll recognize Harold from, the North Grove facility there, where he's out there in the parking lot. And I guess they did a big surprise birthday celebration for him. So he's a beloved guy, isn't he?
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely a people person. He does not meet a stranger, for sure.
And in terms of that job, him being a greeter, does that just totally fit his personality?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. He is a people person. I would be at work and I work with numbers. And so my phone would ring and it would be him, and he'll say, "You'll never believe who I got to talk to today." And he was just so excited because he saw so many school friends, so many family members, just people that he had known over the years. And he just got excited being able to see them and talk to them.
And I have the picture up with you, and I guess it's your granddaughter with him. I guess, how many grands does he have, and how fond is he of them, and how worried have they been?
Well, Annabeth is 12 and Brock is 7. Brock and Papa share the same birth month, so they party the entire month of May. Annabeth is just the apple of his eye. He loves his Annabeth. He thinks that she's supposed to be here every weekend just for him.
As any good grand would do, right? That is
right.
It's amazing. Talk a little bit more about how stressful this has been for the family, because there are other families going through this right now, and you guys really are one of those stories of hope.
It has been, for me, it has been very stressful, because not only did I lose him to the hospital, but then I lost contact with Laura Beth, and she's my stronghold. And I lost contact with her and with Jeremy and with the grands. And so I sat here in the house all alone, sick, couldn't see anybody, couldn't really talk to anybody. And but everybody has been so faithful to check on me, to make sure I was okay, to bring stuff, leave it on the porch, just Gatorade is my drink of choice now. I drink so much Gatorade, it's not even funny. But it has just been real. This is the worst thing I have ever gone through. We've been married going on 53 years in December, and we've never been apart for more than a day or so. He's very healthy, never been a patient in the hospital. He's had some outpatient surgery. So this separation has been the worst.
And I think this virus brings a whole new, normally when someone's in the hospital or in ICU, you can at least, go and visit and get updates, fairly quickly. And the stress and the worry of just waiting by the phone, is anybody going to call? I mean, it will be hours and hours, just because they are so busy and tending to, a very, very sick patients. And we understood that, but it just, not being able to go up there and see him physically and touch him, was stressful. During that time.
And as soon as the phone would ring, of course, my stomach would get in knots, and my heart felt like it was in my throat. And it, physically, mentally, and emotionally, it was very, very, very stressful.
One of the pictures that you guys posted that really got to me was when you finally had that moment where you FaceTimed him. I mean, you've got to see him. How did that feel to finally be able to see him again?
Oh man, it was.
There's no words to describe it, because I had prayed and prayed and prayed. I just want to talk to him and make sure he's okay. I just want to see him and make sure that he's okay. And so it was Easter Sunday. We were at the dinner table, and we got to talk to him. And I actually got to see him for the first time, and it was just absolutely amazing, amazing. And then today was just very special because he's got his humor back. He's making jokes, and just really puts me on. I'm on top of the roller coaster right now. So.
And when you think back to just how many days ago it was that you literally felt like you were going to lose him, it's really, I mean, you talk about a roller coaster, but I mean, it is unbelievable what families are going through, these highs and lows. They can be so low.
It is. And, you know, I've wondered over these last 3 weeks how people that do not have a hope in the Lord and that his timing is perfect and he has a plan for everybody's life. I don't know how families make it through times like this. I really don't. And in the past, we have been so fortunate with our family. We have a small family, but we've never been through anything like this. You know, this just the unknown of this virus is what's so crazy, because all three of us that were sick, we had different symptoms.
Really?
So, yeah. And so with him, you know, his symptoms were different than ours. And it's just crazy. And there's so much unknown. And I applaud the doctors for trying everything that they had access to get him through this. Because they'd say, you know, we're doing all we can do. We've exhausted his days on the two medicines that they combine, the Z-Pak and the hydroxychloroquine. You know, and so at that point, it's like, okay, where do we go from here then? And then on the 13th day of being on the ventilator, they said, we don't want to leave him on there past 14 days. So, you know, the 14th day was coming up, and then on the 13th day, they were able to take that ventilator out. And that was just huge. I knew right then that the Lord had brought him that far. He was going to bring him all the way through this. And so, my personality is I'm a fixer. If something's wrong, I want to fix it.
Sure.
But the Lord has taught me a strong, strong lesson that I have no control over anything. He's got it. He's got this.
That's amazing. And talk about the symptoms. You talked about the different symptoms. So what, for example, were Harold's symptoms versus the other family members?
Well, usually twice a year he has asthma and he has bronchitis. And when the seasons change, we usually go through these seasons with him coughing and have a lot of congestion, and it always settles in his lungs. So I thought on Sunday, when he wasn't feeling well, because he had worked in the yard on Saturday, he and Brock had worked in the yard, and I felt like that was what was coming on. And so I told him, I said, you need to get to the doctor. And Monday he wasn't feeling well. Tuesday he went to the doctor. The doctor gave him some medicine for what we thought was his normal reaction to the season change. The telltale sign was on Tuesday night. I had quarantined him in our bedroom, and I was staying in the other part of the house. And so I heard a noise during the night, and I thought, that's not normal. And so I got up to go check on him, and he had either slid off the bed or fell out of the bed.
Oh, no.
And when I got him up, the floor was really, really hot. So he was running a high fever at that point. And so I had called the after services number, and she said to give him some Tylenol. So we started with that, and his fever began to come down. And then on Wednesday, he still had this horrible cough. For him, it was just the fever and the cough and lack of energy. And so he went back to the doctor on Wednesday. His oxygen level was really low, and so they sent him straight to the hospital.
Wow. Then for you, when did it start for you? Like, how many days after he was symptomatic did you wind up getting sick?
He went to the hospital on Wednesday. On Thursday, I started not feeling well, and I started checking my temperature, and it was a low grade. My temperature never got over 100. but I lost my sense of smell and my sense of taste. That was the two telltale signs for me. I had just pushed everything off as being, just from all the activity and everything. But then when I lost both of those, I'm like, this is not good. And so I talked to the doctor, and he told me, he said, you do have the virus. He said, just stay in, and try to take care of yourself, stay hydrated and all of that. And so I had, this is going to sound awful, but I had the vomiting and the diarrhea and the loss of scent,
I'm so
taste,
sorry.
and smell. That was my major things. I never had the cough. Now,
Interesting.
Jeremy, on the other hand, had the horrible cough and had the congestion and the breathing issues. And Laura Beth had some similar symptoms as well. But praise the Lord, we've all made it through it and
Thank God,
able to
right?
get back together again.
Yes. So what's you just FaceTimed him. He is showing his sense of humor, kind of coming back around. I know he's been sedated all this time, right? So that's a lot to come off of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very scary for somebody to be on sedation that long. And he started out, they moved him on Sunday to a regular room, and he was very confused. He wasn't combative. He was just confused. And they said that went along with the sedation and being in ICU and being on the ventilator. But today he was just so much like himself. You can tell he's weak. You can tell he's very weak, but he's not struggling to breathe. It's just, he's just really tired. And so they've got him now, got his medicine where he's more alert during the day and sleeps at night. So he's coming around, and his sense of humor is the telltale sign. Now, when he saw Laura Beth for the first time, he started crying, and that just tore me up. So
I bet it tore Laura Beth up too.
Yeah, she did good though. She stayed strong, and we tried to not let him see that we were upset. We were happy upset, but it's okay to have happy tears. But he was so much like himself today that it was amazing. It was just like a Christmas present.
Wow, that's amazing. When you think about what comes next, do you know? I mean, like, how long until he can possibly come home? Any read on that situation for you guys?
Well, the doctor says that he failed his first swallowing test, so he's got to be able to swallow and get the feeding tube out. He's got to pass 2 negative coronavirus tests. His first one came back positive, but we're hopeful. We're hopeful for the next one to be negative. And the respiratory therapists, speech therapists, physical therapists are all working with him, and they're doing a fantastic job. But the 2 telltale things is the swallowing and the negative coronavirus. And the doctor had said that they would probably send him to rehab, which means we're still going to be separated. But I'm figuring that God's timing is perfect. And so he's keeping him at the hospital long enough for him to get physically and mentally strong. So when he comes out of the hospital, he's ready to just come straight home. That's what we're praying for right now. So put that on your prayer list.
Okay.
Is that he will do pass the swallowing test and the 2 negative coronavirus tests, and he can just come straight home and not have to go to rehab.
That would be amazing. So we will lift him up and all of you up. When it comes to helping other families through this, what's your best advice at this point as other families face this crazy road?
Well, what I have found for me, I'll let Laura Beth speak for her, but I've really gotten into the Word, and the Word has really become alive to me because there's so many promises. Psalms 91 has been my go-to because in there it says, you love me and you know me, and because you love me and you know me and I love you, I will take care of you and I will give you many years of life. That has been my go-to, and that's my paraphrase. Okay, that's not the NIV or King James. That's not. But that has been my go-to because Harold and I had talked about that particular verse of scripture, or that chapter, Psalms 91, before he even got sick. And so we had been discussing it here at home, and so it has been my go-to. And for other people that's going through this, I would say to just, you've really got to put your faith and trust in the Lord. You've got to get in his word. You've got to pray specifically, and pray for his timing and pray for his will to be done. That's the most important things, because, I've gone through the begging and the pleading and doing everything with God. But finally, he just spoke to me and said, I've got this. You just pray my will and my timing. And so for people that don't have hope, I would say that that's where they've got to go to get their hope. Because while the doctors are working feverishly to try to figure this out and come up with the right formula, but because everybody's symptoms are different, it's a individual by individual basis. And so the place that I have to go to is just back to the Lord. That's all I can say. He has really given me a peace about this, and he's got me through it.
Yes, I would say the exact same thing. I mean, hopefully these families, and we prayed for them too. We don't know their name, but he does. And so we have prayed that they have people in their lives that are supporting and encouraging and praying for them and their family members, because really that's what's going to get us through, and he has definitely heard the prayers on our behalf. Yeah. So we are just very thankful and supportive for family and friends, and hopefully we're praying they have the same, as well, the same support system. So.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you for sharing and being open about all of this, because I think it helps other families to know they're not alone. And I think we all have that, concern that we might face this, and will we be ready? Will we understand what to expect? And, you guys walked into it blind. You had no idea, but you may have just helped another family not be as completely stunned if they have to face it as well. Hopefully they won't. Hopefully we all stay home and we don't get this thing. Do they have any idea how Harold got it? I mean, do they think it was, I know he runs into a lot of people in his job.
I think that that's where we would have to go back to is where he worked, because they are so many people coming in that are sick, and they come in. He's talked about people coming in coughing and sneezing, and it's just a very volatile situation. And I know that they have to go there for doctor's visits and things. And so because we didn't know that much about it, the precautions weren't taken. And had we have known more about it and how contagious, I guess that's the thing that has surprised me the most, is how contagious it is, because they only saw him on Sunday and they were not in close contact. We were already practicing social distancing because he wasn't able to eat that day. So he wasn't even at the dining table where we were, but then they both got sick.
Wow.
I could see him getting sick because I was right there with him, but
sure.
It's just very contagious. And, please, I would just beg people to please do what's best for their family and staying away and keeping the social distancing going, because I'm leery now about going outside my house. I feel safe here because we've Cloroxed and Cloroxed and Cloroxed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But stepping outside of here, it's just like, I'm just so leery of that. So, follow the guidelines that they're putting out there. It's not to be mean, and it's not to punish anyone. It's for everybody's good. And so I would highly recommend that.
Well, you tell Harold when he feels up to it, we will be gathering on the internet to say hello.
Okay. And when he gets out
to see him.
When he gets out of the hospital, we're all going to be there with balloons. So we will invite you to come and be in our little party. Okay.
Yay. And you guys share video of that. We want to celebrate with you.
Okay. We will.
Thank you all so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Bye.